Welcome to the Pre-Purchase 1 course, Unit 7, Establishing Performance Standards. In Unit 7, we'll discuss annual performance standards for pre-purchase counseling. Topics include agency level of capacity, the power of 300, monitoring counseling activity, breakdown of tasks among counselors, ensuring productivity, efficiency, and success. NCLR has established a high standard for housing counseling service delivery to increase the volume of clients seen while also ensuring that each client receives the highest level of attention. So using those priorities of increasing volume and providing good quality service, NCLR has put together some tools to help agencies grow and develop their production. So the first tool is level classification, and I encourage you to consider your agency's level of service delivery. In the manual there's a chart that guides you through an initial analysis of the level of development of your organization, and it's based on primarily production and quality. Assuming you have at least one full-time counselor dedicated to the program who sees at least 6 clients per week. The agency level identification reviews 6 areas of organizational development: housing counseling experience, staff experience, use of a client management system, staffing, community visibility, and funding. Reflecting on this agency level identification chart helped me to get a vision for future growth for my organization. Before I studied this agency level chart that's available in your manual, I didn't really know where my organization could go. I didn't know how we could grow. So it really helped me to cast a vision for growth and development. So I hope it does that for you too. I feel that it's best, the best way to study this is to look at the chart yourself so that you can really delve into it and think about it. There's also a chart in your manual for individual counselor development, which identifies tasks to be successful and ensure program compliance, which helps counselors to plan their knowledge growth. Again, I feel that it helps an individual to cast a vision for their own professional development. So I encourage you to study that as well and assess where you would fit on that counseling task level chart. Let's go on to standardizing service delivery and regular volume tracking. The purpose of establishing program standards is to manage agency goals, correlate funding with the achievements that you expect for per quarter or per year, to measure your production quantitatively, and to track local trends in the counseling agency. Tracking the number of counseling sessions each counselor is providing daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annually will help you to achieve your quantitative goals, and that will lead to you gaining access to additional funding sources. So I encourage you to do that. It may seem tedious to track daily and weekly. However, I've found that it really helps counselors to stay on top of the goal of seeing as many clients as possible and using their time well. We have an example scenario of how NCLR helped one agency to look at the number of clients they were serving, set some goals, and turn their production around. This agency had 2.5 full-time employees, 2 counselors, and 1 manager who counseled part-time. They were experiencing a period where the staff felt really overwhelmed with the volume of work. In reviewing their 9902 for the previous year, they had provided counseling to 238 clients. So to review, they have 2.5 full-time employees who served 238 clients in a year. When talking to the manager about their production, there was a sense that there needed to be additional staff hired to manage the workload. It was stated that there was minimal time for follow-up and counselors were falling behind with their required duties. We broke down their production by the 2.5 staff and observed that 238 clients divided by 12 months equals less than 20 clients per month. 20 clients per month divided by 2.5 staff equals less than 8 clients per month per staff member. 8 clients per month divided by 4 weeks equals less than 2 clients per week per staff member. And in a 40-hour work week divided by 2 clients per week per staff member, that means that there's about 20 hours spent on each client in a week. After breaking down the numbers with the manager, the question was raised, do you spend approximately 20 hours per client in a week? And the answer was no. So the next questions were, what are you doing with the time you have and how are you documenting it? Because they clearly didn't know how their time was being spent. They felt overwhelmed with only serving 2 clients per week per staff member. They felt that they needed additional staff to help with the workload, and they didn't feel that they had enough time to do the follow-up that was necessary. So we wanted to help them identify how their time was being spent and how to use it more efficiently. So for this agency to raise their production numbers to a reasonable level, a few different steps were taken. They determined the appropriate number of clients for each counselor per week. They ensured that all client information was properly being entered into their client management system. They started conducting weekly meetings to track the achievement of each counselor. And they pulled reports on the client management system to verify their production and their data entry. Within 8 months of meeting consistently with the staff and confirming that weekly goals were met, these same staff members counseled over 500 clients. So 500 clients in 8 months compared to 238 clients in 12 months in the previous year. What a turnaround. So you can see that once you really take into consideration how time is being spent, it can be used more efficiently. So this idea of the breakdown of 300, or the power of 300 when we refer to the power of 300 clients per counselor per year, we should take a few things into consideration, especially the counselor's level of experience and the types of services provided. As a counselor gains experience, they'll obviously be able to serve more clients more efficiently. And if they're providing a complicated service, for example, maybe you're processing down payment assistance and the counselor is responsible for that, or you're providing foreclosure counseling, which may take more time to follow up with loan servicers and so on. So we want to take those things into consideration, but we have this basic goal of 300 clients seen per counselor per year. For one full-time counselor providing comprehensive long-term service for new and existing clients should be able to counsel 300 pre-purchase clients per year. As mentioned, foreclosure counseling can take more time, and they may only be able to see 225 foreclosure clients per year. And if they have a mix of foreclosure and pre-purchase clients, then we expect also for a counselor to be able to serve about 225 clients per year. A common barrier to achieving the goal of 300 clients per year is poor data integrity. You may feel like you don't have time to manage data with all the other things that you have to do, and as housing counselors we tend to be really warm-hearted, and we want to spend time on our people, and we don't like spending time on data. However, with accurate data, an agency can serve more people, because you can use your reports to present to management, board, and funders to prove your case for how many people you're serving, or if you need to obtain additional funding or obtain additional staff. Reports will also help with outreach to advocate for a political movement that you might be involved in, or a bill that you would like to be passed, or for marketing or for public awareness about the need for the services that your agency provides. And reports can also lead to more opportunities for grants, fee relationships, and program development. If you can prove to a financial institution, for example, that you helped 50 of their customers get into homes in a year, then you can use that information to leverage funds from that financial institution. So we really encourage you to think about setting data integrity as a priority in your agency so that you can achieve these goals. Use of the client management system impacts reporting results. So every time you enter data or update any information in the client management system, it's an opportunity to impact your report. We recommend data entry procedures and specific duties to improve data integrity. Writing out your methods and procedures and training your staff on those will help to improve your data. Use reports to identify where usage can be improved or if staff improperly enters information into fields. And use a staff meeting to get everyone on board on the same page with using the fields in the same way. That way, when you or a manager run a report, you can easier use that data to report to, as we said, management, board, funders, or for program development purposes. Integrating a client management system into the counseling process is required by HUD, but it also increases efficiency and productivity, and it helps you track a larger client load. Producing reports will take less time if you're using your client management system efficiently. From personal experience, when I started at my agency, we were still doing everything on paper. We weren't using client management system. This was over 10 years ago. And we were actually tailing each participant's demographics and results and everything in order to do our 9902. So I can tell you that using client management system and using it consistently among all the counselors will help you to produce reports in a more efficient way. So when should counselors use their client management system? Every single day. I hope you're not thinking that you can just hold on to your data until the end of the week and enter all your data on Friday or something. You can use it during your counseling sessions to use those tools that are available in your client management system for budgeting and credit reporting, entering all of your intake information, scheduling your classes and appointments, assigning HUD numbers. Use those reminders and calendars, log all of your notes and interactions with your clients there, and that way you can prove when you've had interactions with your clients so that you can maintain good follow-up practices. Reports can help an agency determine if Counselor Max or Home Counselor Online is being used properly. It also helps you to analyze the types of clients the agency is counseling. We noticed at our agency that when the foreclosure crisis began, we went from 0 foreclosure clients one year to about 12 foreclosure clients the next year. And that was the first indicator to us that there was a problem. It wasn't in the news yet. It wasn't a well-known problem, and there wasn't any funding available for foreclosure counseling yet. But that was the first indicator to us that we needed to start advocating for funds and start increasing community awareness of the fact that foreclosure was a problem in our community. If we hadn't been entering data well in our client management system, I don't think we would have noticed that. And we certainly wouldn't have if I hadn't been pulling reports to analyze who we were serving. Reports can also help you gauge production levels and determine funding levels and demonstrate agency production. In the next section, we'll look at tracking follow-up services. HUD requires follow-up at least every 60 days. We want to encourage agencies to avoid a revolving door syndrome where clients come and go without getting the help they need, and that will result in no impacts. We want to see follow-up that leads to completed resolutions and impacts. Serving returning clients is certainly more efficient than recruiting new clients if you think about the fact that you can just make a phone call to follow up with a client from the previous year, as opposed to going out to some events and doing some press releases and coming up with a new marketing technique in order to recruit one new family. The amount of time and effort that it takes to recruit one new client is certainly more than it would take to just follow up with an existing client. Think of your clients as long-term and not just an initial one-and-done appointment. That initial one-on-one session usually takes 1 to 2 hours, but then we may follow up with those clients for 6 months to maybe 5 years or more until they become mortgage ready. And then we'd also encourage you to do an appointment when they're mortgage ready to help them maybe identify a loan product they'd like, or go over their loan documents, or remind them of the home purchase process when they're ready. So you could be seeing these people for several years, and we do want to provide a quality service for the long term to make sure that we're really helping our clients achieve their goal of home ownership. Let's look at 2 sample work weeks that may give you some ideas to use your time more efficiently. We'll look at an established program sample in which the model assumes that the counselor is experienced and the agency has an established pipeline of clients. Then we'll also look at a new agency sample, which assumes that the counselor does not have previous experience and the agency is still building a pipeline of clients. So I'm going to take a moment to find my pen or highlighter here so I can indicate some things on the slide. So this is for the established program, and I guess one thing I want to point out, which I think people don't think about very often, is this 8 to 9 o'clock time, where they've set aside time to email and return phone calls each day, and on Friday they have additional time for following up with pipeline clients. I like this idea. I think plenty of studies have shown that we don't use time efficiently if we constantly have our email open and we're constantly switching from one task to another to respond to any email or phone calls that come in throughout the day. So I'd encourage you to try this. You also have another 4 to 5 hour block of time at the bottom here, which is open to do anything, and that could be another time for emailing and returning phone calls at the end of the day. I'd also like to point out that this does include a 1 hour lunch, so don't think this is far-fetched and we're excluding lunch or something. Okay, so next I want to point out that we've got 4 client sessions. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're taking 4 new clients per week, and then we're also following up with 2 clients from the previous year's pipeline and another 2 clients from the previous year's pipeline, and then we've got ongoing follow-up on Fridays. So we've got 4 new clients and 4 old clients that we're serving each week, so that's a total of 8, and then following up, and then we've got continuing work with existing client load. And we've also got some blocks of time for other counseling programs, so maybe you also have to take care of a homebuyer education course preparation or setup or marketing or attending a meeting, and then you also need some time to maintain files for your clients. So we tried to make the schedule pretty realistic and to point out that it may be helpful simply to block out time for specific tasks, block out days for specific types of appointments so that you can control your schedule. I found that this really helped my counselors to relax when it gave them more power to say, here's what I'm going to do on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Here's what I'm going to do on Tuesday and Thursday. And to give them the freedom to really take control of their time more, rather than to be completely controlled by the client's phone calls and emails and demands on them. So I hope that you'll think about that. Let me see if I can erase all my drawings, and we will go to the next slide, I hope. There we go. All right, so this sample schedule is for a new agency and an inexperienced counselor there. So since it's a new agency, we did leave a lot of time for new clients. So we've got, let's see, there's 5 appointments. Here's another one. So we've got 6 new client appointments. Since they don't have an established pipeline yet, we have plenty of time for marketing and networking, getting out in the community. So we've got several afternoons for getting out to promote the program. And then we also left some time for client follow-up. And notice again that we blocked out the mornings for the emailing and returning phone calls. So the focus is different. Since it's a new agency and a new counselor, you're mainly going to be meeting with new clients. You wouldn't have clients from a previous year's pipeline to follow up with. So you need to devote a lot of time to marketing and networking. So we feel that the primary purpose of this schedule is to show you that you can serve 6 clients in a week. You can counsel 6 clients in a week, and that would achieve that goal of the 300 clients per year. So we also recommend doing, taking a look at yearly planning. If you look at an annual calendar, you can plan your marketing initiatives and know when client volume will be low and when volumes will peak, so that you can plan how you'll use the slow periods to your advantage to achieve those goals of doing the marketing during the slow periods, doing some file management when it's slow, things like that. Maybe training your staff. So if you look at the calendar, if you live in a northern state, you might experience this habit of people tending to be really active with buying houses in the spring, early spring, but you might have that downtime through the winter, like early November through January. Our agency would see very few new clients come in. We were still able to do follow-up, of course, and it was a good time to check back on those clients from the previous year. If we hadn't spoken to them since September, for example, we could follow up with them in November and try to get them in, or at least do phone calls to count as counseling sessions for the new fiscal year. So I encourage you to think about that, think about how you use your time, and make sure you're not just relaxing and enjoying the slow time, but using it for the best purpose possible. So for housing counseling industry standards, these were developed by industry stakeholders in 2007 in order to set some minimum standard activities for homeownership counseling. This included several national intermediaries that were involved in order to get the opinion of a lot of players to identify industry standards. This course has incorporated the requirements established by HUD as well as the stakeholder group that developed the housing counseling industry standards. So you'll already be in compliance with both HUD and with this industry standard set if you implement consistently what you've learned in this course. A couple clarifications that came from the housing counseling industry standards. We want to make sure that if we're providing phone counseling, we're providing a quality service with an equal level of service to those clients receiving services at the organization's physical address. I think it can be easy to kind of make the appointment shorter and maybe skip a few steps and maybe neglect some paperwork when we're just talking with someone on the phone. But the industry standard is to provide an equal level of service. So make sure that you're finding a way to get all that documentation and to provide a good quality service over the phone. Another item from the industry standards regarding ethics, there's a standard to be professional in both behavior and attire or dress. Make sure you're thinking about safety first when you're counseling people. For example, you might want to make sure that your desk is arranged in your office so that you have a safe exit to leave your office, and you don't have to walk past the client to get out. You might also need to look at your procedures in your office and make sure that people aren't left alone in the office to counsel after hours or before hours. And also that you discuss with your coworkers how to deal with challenging clients within your agency. Sometimes our clients get angry or upset when they are not able to achieve the goal that they have in mind, or if they feel that we're not cooperating with them. So I encourage you to have a plan in place for that. I've had to ask for help from my coworkers in the past when a client had been upset with me for not approving their down payment assistance application. In our case, it was a matter of making sure that someone else was in the office and they were aware that I might need help, or I would step out of my office when a client became angry with me and go and ask for someone else to be near the office in case I needed them. So I think it's something to be aware of, to make sure that all housing counselors have a safe work environment and have a plan in place if they need help. So this concludes Unit 7. I hope you've learned a lot.